Well, hello and welcome back to another Cities with John episode. I am this old gamer, and I have water on my tram road. Okay, we gotta start this over. Hello and welcome back to another Cities with John episode. I am this old gamer, and I'm thrilled to have you along for the ride today as we reach a miniature milestone. This is Downtown episode 10. And we are going to be focused today on this area next to, well, right next to where episode 9 took place, as we started some residential area just to the side of this blank spot. So I went ahead and did some upgrades to my road. I got rid of the bridge that crossed the canal. Actually, it went across the beach. I got rid of that and went ahead and put some networking in here and connected the multi-level bridge to the road, where now really the only way to get over that canal other than the freeway is going to be this multi-level bridge. So I went ahead and added some networking, and also we have a flood wall that is kind of a multi-function flood wall, not to overuse that word, which I normally do. This flood wall, as you see there in that curve to the right, is going to protect this low lining area. This is going to be an area that we have a lot of retail development in, and kind of continue the theme that we started on episode 9. We're also going to have some, well, I guess I would call normal retail, compared to some of the ritzier places that nobody can afford shopping at that were from a previous episode. This is going to be more of a semi-normal commercial district. So the first thing we're going to do is, as I just said, add in some retail. So what my focus is going to be is I want this area to be not as much inner city vibe as much as a development close to the beach, a little bit nicer, not as tight, hypothetically speaking, not as tight as the previous retail development between the canals, but to be kind of more open. So kind of like where the suburbs and the residential downtown combine. You get the best features of the suburbs combined with the best features of living downtown. So all the amenities of downtown, easy transportation, lots of public transportation, of course, in this case, lots of trams and trains. However, it is going to be the best of both worlds, because we're going to have places that usually are in the suburbs of a city, for example, at PetSmart. So anyway, that is the idea for this episode. Once again, Downtown episode 10. Thank you all very much for coming along for each and every ride, and I appreciate my new subscribers and everybody that's taken the time to like my videos and motivate me to continue making City Skylines videos. It is a lot of fun to make these videos, but it's also a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time. And I'm fortunate enough to still be working, so I have a somewhat full-time job at the moment, and so my time when I get off work can be limited at times. So I've been trying to stick to a Wednesday or a Thursday release, but unfortunately that's not always going to be the case. So I apologize for those who like videos coming out at a regular basis. However, that might not happen anytime soon necessarily. I had a really good schedule kind of down where I was had a kind of a routine. But it's rather time consuming to make these videos, and there's a lot of, it's more than just playing. And I don't necessarily like calling my video a let's play. I kind of just like to, I don't know, call it Cities with John. I like let's plays to me are kind of like, oh, you're playing it along with me. But I don't really know how you do that necessarily with City Skylines. But whatever you want to call it, I call it Cities with John, and I call myself this old gamer, but also John. But this old gamer for this circumstance. So what we're doing here is we're just kind of adding some buildings to the PetSmart. The PetSmart is going to be the anchor to those buildings. So we had a Starbucks and a couple of other generic buildings that we'll be adding signs to before too long. But really what I'm trying to do is just use each one of these blocks of space to develop some retail and kind of keep all of it nice and tucked in together, but still have enough room where it's not as inner city feeling as some of the other areas. So that is kind of the idea with that. And I believe I've got these backwards. Let's switch this around. Whoopsie daisy. Whoopsie daisy. We're going to have a parking garage installed at some point over here, but for now, this will have to serve as some quick parking for some people. Right now, of course, this just being built, people haven't really discovered it yet. So we will have more parking over here at some point during this episode, but I am sticking with just that one little line for cars right now. I'm sure they'll be flying off and on the interstate before you know it. Sports Clips, I used to get my haircut there. That is a haircut place that also is a gentleman's club, believe it or not. I'm totally kidding. You do get nice head massages and a warm towel. Man, remember those days when you could go out and get a haircut? They'll be back. It's okay. All right, so these are some really cool assets that have a very similar theme and look to them. And there's actually, what's cool about this is, and I don't put them all here together, but there's actually some buildings like a police station that has the same look to it. It's a very suburban look, and I think it fits well. Actually, the reason I'm using these, mostly the main reason I'm using these, is I haven't really used them before. I've had these, I've been subscribed to these assets for quite some time and never really put them to use. So that's what we're going to put here. But they kind of tie together well. The only thing I don't like about them is they have that little sidewalk there, but we're going to get rid of that. And we're also going to be using procedure objects to get rid of it, as we're doing here to raise the roof. Did not mean to say raise the roof there. So one good thing about procedure objects is when you got a building that you're wanting to edit, you can just grab any of these little spots along the way. So you can even take this little rim down. And procedure objects recently has had an update, so see how much better that looks. And it's a lot easier to click on those individual sections of buildings and props and assets. It's a lot easier now with those little blue dots compared to what they used to be. They used to be like little plus signs, which I'm sure you're familiar with if you're a City Skylines player. It's just a lot easier, and what a great mod it is. And I've been using it a lot more than I really wanted to, because the worst thing about procedure objects are if you use it on a building, it is not functional anymore. So that building that I just put there next to Panera Bread, which is just a generic retail building that we'll have to add signs to, it is now not functional because it's been changed to procedure objects. So people will not be using it. It's not going toward my stats and whatever, what have you, on City Skylines. But really that does not matter, since basically playing the design method that I play on this game, I do not really care about any of that stuff, and sometimes I really miss it, but not too much. Okay, so we are building just a small little park right here by the Panera Bread. I guess park is not the right word for it, but it's just kind of going to be like a little shaded sit-down area where you can grab some coffee and just sit out here and hang out and people watch. We are using the sidewalks that were Ninu sidewalks from the Sunken Tram episode, the same sidewalks that I used there. They are kind of, unless I was doing something completely wrong with them here, I had to actually make them as elevated sidewalks to get the effect I wanted, because when I connected them, they just did not curve around very well. They actually kind of, for lack of a better term, it's kind of like glitched out, and it looked like they weren't connected. So that was very odd. However, doing the elevation technique worked, as you can see, and I just dropped it down a little bit into the ground so it does look like it's just hugging the ground. Now we're installing the Ppg benches and these really cool trees that I haven't used all that much, so I thought they worked perfectly right here for some shade. Like how that turned out. Dave and Buster's coming to a city with no name near you. A staple of Americana, a check mark for any suburban area to show that they are legit. That and Topgolf. If you have those two, you might as well just retire in whatever city that you're at right now. Okay, here's another Americana. You have to have it. Trader Joe's, and we are going to combine the Trader Joe's with some other places like this vape store, for instance, with this Kofi Kingston vibe to the front of it. We also have a Vision Works for those of you who have eye insurance and can afford $400 sets of glasses. We're going to put here on the corner. This is another building that kind of matches that same design I was referring to earlier, and it also has that ugly sidewalk as well. So does the Walgreens, but who doesn't love Walgreens more than me? On the corner of happy and healthy. I hope you're healthy, and I hope you and your family are doing good and you're taking care during this fun times. Let's see. Let's put a little fence or something in behind here. Kind of cut that off. Kind of give this a more, so it looks more like the back of the center. Yeah, it makes a nice little break area there. I like that. Install a little, let's put a couple of dumpsters back here. I don't know how a trash man is going to get to these dumpsters. Guess they'll have to figure that out. Whatever. See, detailing in areas like that, I always think to myself, nobody's ever going to see this, right? Let's stretch this out. I actually want to make, yeah, like that. There we go. All right. In behind Trader Joe's, we're going to put this sidewalk connect right by that vape store, and then this would be a nice little place to put a smaller building. Put like a little smaller building down here. How about a fire station? I haven't really been putting too many fire stations and police stations over here. It's probably why nobody really wants to move in. There is no... Oh, I see you right there. I see a black sedan sneaking over here. Yeah. Just you go ahead and park right there. There you go. Okay. Haven't really been installing that many fire engines, fire stations and police stations and things like that, hospitals, because I haven't really thought much of doing it, to be honest with you. So I'm going to have to pick up the pace on that. People are not going to want to move over here. So maybe we'll install some of those later or in another episode down the road. But again, just putting businesses side by side, and we're actually going to, there is a police station right here that we are going to, let's just pull that over and put it right next to that. And that makes a nice corner. So sometimes what I'll do is if I'm not really exactly sure what I want to do with a certain area or how I want to handle a certain part of the map, if you find a building that has a corner, it really can just kind of set an area up for you, so you don't really have to worry about exactly where you're going to put the roads. As you might know if you've been watching my channel for a while, I gridded out this entire downtown, and I remember at some point in the episode I said something to the extent of, I know a lot can change, but I am sticking to this grid. I like the way it turned out, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to change it. So that didn't really stand the test of time. You have to make adjustments as you go at times, and that's what I did. Okay, so we got most of the retail out of the way, and it's time to start adding in some more high-end residential, bigger residential buildings with the most incredible view on the map, no doubt, overlooking the ocean. Just a beautiful spot to have some really tall residential places. So now I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going to just fill this up with residential. As a matter of fact, one of my plans for a upcoming episode is going to be tied into an area right behind this residential, and over here where we have the flood wall and that big curve, it's going to be kind of the beginning of the next episode, I do believe. Adding a little one-way street, and I'm going to go ahead and put a large parking lot in here. Yeah, let's just keep it down, something simple and low to the ground. I'm going to build a big parking lot over here. I like this little koala beach. This is a King Lino asset. Love it. I'll put it here. This will serve as somewhat of a grand entrance to something in the future, maybe, if I decide to do it. Alright, so here is the parking garage. Told you we would have a parking garage. It didn't take long. I'm going to put this parking garage, and I'm going to put it right up here next to this building, and it'll serve as a parking garage that will be for the residents of that building. However, you'll be able to access the parking garage for any use you want, park anywhere you want, and you can even, here's the catch with this parking garage, I guarantee you, it is going to serve flying cars just as well as it serves regular cars. They'll be flying in and out of that parking garage left and right. There's no doubt in my mind that that will be coming down pretty soon. Just kind of change these over to royal palms and kind of have a royal palm theme around these different building assets. It took me a while to decide which ones I wanted to put here. I do like these very tropical looking colors on these buildings, but I went through quite a few to find the right ones. These are ploppable Rico buildings, so they take up a large footprint on your map, and they look really good, and some are humongous and some are, you know, just kind of a normal size. If you have a situation where a building is too big, you can always use procedure objects, but I didn't have to in this case, and I think they turned out pretty good.
This Old Gamer is paid for by contributions by viewers like you, and by...
Oh my god, Skylines Mall is like so awesome. It's huge, like it's at least 10,000 square yards or something. And there's a Starbucks, it's so lit. Macy's has like cheap AF deals, but I think they might be closing. There's even somewhere to leave my kids unsupervised for hours. Like, totally go there, because it's been like kind of dead lately.
We've had some fun on this show, and I hope you have enjoyed a lot of these shenanigans that I put out, and I just try to keep things a little bit interesting and try to be different than other YouTube City Skylines channels. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there dedicated to this game, and rightfully so. It's a fantastic game and a lot of great creators and a lot of great content, and I'm glad that there is. I'm glad there's a strong bond and a strong community of players for this game, because that's what just keeps it up. And my hat's off to all of the creators and the mod folks and the asset folks and everything. They are all MVPs in my mind, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to make assets for this game. But if it wasn't for all the great downloadable content, this would still be a good game. It just wouldn't be as good as it is with all the other assets. And speaking of assets, we got lots of downloadable ones here. Obviously, Coors Light and Blue Moon neon signs did not come with the vanilla game version. So anyway, we have a little fountain that we have installed here, and went ahead and put in all of our decals. I'm trying to mix it up on decals. I've mentioned before, just trying to keep decals fresh and not use the same ones over and over. So using a new brick decal that I have, and I think it ties in really well here with the building and everything. This is a large hotel. This is actually a Ritz Carlton, I believe. On the workshop in the description it says Ritz Carlton. We're actually going to make it a Marriott, but this Marriott also features a lot of restaurants and shops, including a Tiffany & Co. And it also has a bar in it, as you can see there where it says bar. And then, so we're just going to add on these little Marriott signs like so. We might go back in a little while and fix up some of those signs with procedure objects and make them a little bit bigger, but just for now we threw in the Marriott signs like so, and just to give this a little bit of a more polished and realistic look. Didn't have any Ritz-Carlton signs. I'm sure they're out there, but didn't have one. We're just going to put this little curb feature around this fountain, and I've noticed that there are Sims coming out of the fountain and going into the fountain, so this is definitely serving as a park, but usually that does not force the Sims to walk in and out of it, but that's okay. I'm not really concerned about it. It's a really cool looking fountain, so who cares. All right, we're going to continue this path down here all the way to the little oval that we built as part of this multi-level bridge, multi-function bridge, I should say. And we're just going to extend the same bricks, and we already have our invisible sidewalk in place, as you saw that gentleman walking down there. And then we're also going to put a sidewalk over here, so just keeping a lot of footpath space going all through the map, but especially downtown. I've really stepped up my game as far as making sure these people have easy access walking wise to get where they need to go. With these large residential centers and the big Marriott hotel, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to just walk to where they need to go because they have a lot of great amenities real close by, like a Trader Joe's or a Dave & Buster's. Alright, so every celebration requires some craziness, so let's get crazy. Let's save our game for sure, because we're about to do some terraforming. We're about to actually attempt to build a large water feature here. Not sure exactly how this is going to work. I should have probably tried to dig this hole prior to putting these curbs in, but nevertheless, what we're going to do is attempt to make this water feature. And my idea for this is partly because there is a really cool looking new asset on the workshop. Comes the moment of truth. Oh, my blood pressure has immediately skyrocketed. We'll see how this water works out. So anyway, this is mostly due to an asset that I got off the workshop by STMSantana. He is an amazing creator. He, I guess one of his more famous creations is he created some Lego blocks that you can make like a Lego world. I guess if you wanted to, you could do really whatever you want to. I actually have an idea for those Lego blocks I might do somewhere down the road. But so back to the fountain here. This is the ploppable dock that I used to put around here, and as you could see, it was pretty rigid and rugged. That's because I used a lot of I used procedure objects on all four corners, all four sides of this water feature to kind of make it work and just sink it into the ground. Having the networks and stuff already built around this made it a little bit more challenging, but I think it turned out okay as far as the size of this. Now this is another amazing asset that I really like. This one is by KitchenDon, and it is a sculpture of a seashell. And what I've done is I've taken that seashell and used procedure objects to make it a little bit bigger. And now what we're going to do is we are going to make a kind of a metal grating that's going to go all the way around it, so the fountain jets that are spraying into the water feature have a place to go back into the water without getting all over the concrete, if that makes sense. And then we're going to go through and kind of adjust where those water jets are coming out. They were a tad bit misleading, I guess you would say, as far as when I was installing them. They kind of were a little bit elevated, so we're going to lower them down and get them right up against this grating, and I think that'll make it look a lot better. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put 2 more seashells and just have a big one here in the center. I'm going to rotate this one around, and then we're going to do the same thing over here, like so. And then we'll just add in a little bit more vegetation. But I think this is a unique water feature that really ties into this area right by the beach. All right, so we have this little corner that needs something. So I have these really cool ploppable Rico buildings that kind of tie together, Skyview residential centers here, and then we're just going to put some trees along the side of this path. We have okay, we have to adjust this. Oh, you know what, I totally forgot to set the water capacity to that water generator spot. Whoops. Yeah, I brought it down a little bit, so hopefully that helps. Oh well. So we'll just kind of fill up some nice little curbs here. Okay, now we need to set some no parking limitations. There was way too many cars on these streets parking, and we do not want that. And we're going to do it over here in this corner as well, right next to this fountain. We don't really want people parking all over the place. Oh, there, I told you. I told you. Wouldn't take long. Alright, just some little minor details here or there. Oh, okay. Alright. So this is something new. Yeah, there's not enough flying car alerts for this. Okay, so we're going to throw in some office buildings right here. I didn't really like the way that parking garage looked facing out. Even though I like having the parking garage kind of snug in there, I just thought it looked a little odd having that parking garage just facing out. And then selecting these buildings, this will allow me to make a little courtyard right next to the, there's another one, right next to the corner here. Just kind of add in these blue tiles. I love these blue tiles. They are actually part of the vanilla game. And we'll just take this little, we're going to shrink this down a little smaller. There, like so. And then we'll put that in the corner. This will be a nice little place for some trees and maybe a little statue. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Throw in some bushes. Those are actually bush props there. Make sure you use those props so you don't have to fill everything up with tons of trees, because that does go toward your tree count. Of course, props go toward your prop count, but those props really come in handy to just fill up some space when you need to fill up some space like I just did there. And I think they look as good, if not better, than using the bushes that are under the tree tab. So we'll put a little American flag in here, and how about a flag of something? I don't even know what it is. Perfect. Well, that about does it for episode 10 of this downtown series. I think this area is turning out really nice, even better than I expected, and I really like the combination of the suburban and residential that we accomplished here today. I'm going to leave you with some cinematics, and let's look at the finished product from today. I want to thank you once again for joining me for Cities with John. This has been a really fun episode, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed building it. I want to give a special shout out to Nate Eubank, or Nate N8, who makes all these great beats and music for my channel. I really appreciate it. Very, very talented man. Well, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and the best is yet to come. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great day and take care. Bye-bye. Grandpa, there's another way out of this. You do not have to do this, Grandpa. As a Best Buy truck, you've got to get out of the way. I know you were a pervert on a beach a long, long time ago, but you've got to get off of the street. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh. 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 Gosh, he wasn't even looking. Moron. Go back inside.